So
Great.
I would love for you to give an introduction about yourself. What's your name, where you're from, and a little bit about your aerial experience.
Cool. Hi, my name is Erin. I live in New York City. I've been doing aerial for a year and a half, probably at this point. Yeah, started a year and a half ago. Really fell into it, and it's been a great time so far.
Cool. And so what specific problems were you having before we started working together? Like, why did you reach out and what were you looking for help with?
Yeah. So I during my aerial experience, I ended up with kind of an injury of sorts. Basically a condition that I needed to be extra careful about, and it turns out I needed to take time away from aerial in order to really properly address it, right? And so I was doing aerial very consistently for, let's see, we started in for a year and some months, right? And was pretty happy with it, had built up a lot of strength, was really excited, and then kind of had to take this forced break for a while, and I didn't know how long that break would be. And so my initial the initial thing that I wanted, really the main thing that I reached out about was I just didn't want to lose all of the strength that I had worked for and built over the past year or so, while I took a break for an indefinite amount of time. So that was a big thing. And then I also knew that in order to address the condition, I needed to take some time to not only maintain the strength, but do it on the ground, right? Do it in a very controlled manner, make sure all the correct muscles were activating, those types of things in order to increase safety, right, in the air.
Mm-hmm.
And so those were the two main things. Was kind of, and I didn't really know how to do it. Like I had just been doing all these aerial classes, they were fun and they were great, but without the aerial, I didn't really know what to do. And so that's what led me to reach out.
Awesome. Yeah, so it was quite a unique situation because we were helping you to rebuild and not get re-injured. It wasn't just about, oh, I want to get this skill. How do I get this skill? So yeah, there was a little bit more complexity to it. And then what made you reach out to me, like, over any other coach you could have messaged on social media?
Yeah, no, the thing about your profile that spoke to me was the emphasis on strength, and the emphasis of strength off the apparatus specifically. Like, I know you've talked about that a few times, and I think you've literally said the phrase like building the foundation, right? And so that's really what spoke to me. I was like, this seems like the perfect fit. It seems like the thing that could really help me address what I'm going through specifically at the moment. So yeah, that's what led me to reach out.
Awesome. And then before going ahead with our coaching, was there anything that you were unsure about? Did you have any concerns or anything that made you hesitate about going ahead with it?
I guess not really. I guess mostly like I didn't really know how the next few months were going to play out. And the other big hesitation too was like, I know I had some work trips and like doctor's appointments and things that were going to just make life kind of busy. So I think that was a hesitation. And then yeah, in terms of like how my injury was doing and how that was progressing, I didn't know how that would. So there were like a lot of variables that came in where I kind of hesitated, but ultimately felt like the time is going to pass anyway. I'm just going to try and work it out the best that I can, and just take things as they come.
Nice. And just to touch on that, did you feel like the program provided you like a good level of flexibility to accommodate the fact that you had work trips, you had life stuff? It didn't feel like it was this big consuming thing, right?
Definitely. Yeah. It was nice, one, to be able to chat with you about specific exercises and, say like, oh, this isn't working, or even, exercises that required a specific equipment or not, which like, I feel like a lot of them were pretty I could do pretty much in any gym that I was at, which was really, really nice. And that really helped with the traveling as well. But yeah, the flexibility really helped with that. Also the specifying, because you had different options of, oh, like how much time do you have, right? Do you have 30 minutes, 45 minutes? Like that really helped, where it's like, okay, if I can keep it in this time window, then I can stick to it better. Like if I think if it had been any longer, it would have been a lot harder to maintain with like the busy schedule. So yeah, being able to be flexible, and also the checking on volume too, where it's like, oh, like how's the volume this week? Like, is it going to be busier next week? That kind of ongoing check-in was really helpful for the just managing time, really.
Yeah, that's so good, because I know a lot of people I work with, they are busy, right? They do have full-on jobs. This is not their primary thing. And so, yeah, I try really hard to make it so that people have that flexibility when they need it. So that is really cool to hear. Okay, I would love to just hear a little bit about like your experience from the program, what you learned, what you achieved. Let's talk about that next.
Yeah, honestly, I think one of my biggest learnings from this was trust the process. Like truly, I know people say that all the time, but it's definitely another thing to really experience it, because as I was doing the exercises, again, I kind of went into this with this very maintenance mindset, right? Of like, okay, I am maintaining strength and I'm focusing on form and, rebuilding foundational, all of that. So I wasn't like, because maintenance and foundation were my goals, I wasn't really like, I wasn't really thinking about like, oh, I'm this close to a pull-up, right? Or like trying to get to that. I was like, okay, I'm just like doing these things to keep everything in order. And so, as I was doing that, right, and just kind of like going through the workouts and going through the sessions, what really surprised me was one, just like the body awareness that I developed, one with like the repetition of the exercises and, kind of watching those progress. Like the Cossack squats were like a really big one, right? Where first they just felt really awkward and clunky. And we kind of talked about that a little bit. And then, as I kept doing them, they just like got a lot more fluid and easier and I felt stronger. And so that was this really nice positive feedback loop that I wasn't really expecting, it was really cool to not only meet those maintenance goals and have that mindset, but actually like progress towards things that I wasn't able to do. So that was also really cool. And I think I got off track. I'm not really sure what.
This is really great. Yeah. So what you've just said is that, you were able to see progress you weren't expecting. It sounds like you also came into the program not with like low expectations, but you weren't there being like, I'm going to come out with a straight arm invert, or which some clients, that's their goal, so that's the main focus of it.
Totally.
But I love that you did trust the process, because I could see the potential there for you to rebuild strength and then start working towards skills, even just in the 12 weeks that we had together. I think one of the biggest wins from my side was that your body did not get re-injured. That was huge, as well as the fact that you built so much strength. So just tell everyone about the skill that you did get accidentally, but not accidentally.
Pull-ups.
Right.
Pull-ups. Yeah, no, that was such a nice surprise. Like, yeah, that was awesome. Just developed so much pulling strength doing the exercises. And then it was nice too when you encouraged me. You're just like, you should just try one, like you should just take the band off and see what happens. So that was a very, very fun one.
Yeah, that's awesome. A pull-up is huge. And yeah, I can sometimes see it before a client does, where I'm like, I reckon they can do it now. But yeah. And we did also get you back in the air, and we did get you starting on working towards like some of the skills in the air. So how is your aerial feeling now? Like when you go into a training session or a class, how do you feel? How is it going?
Yeah, definitely. So the whole experience was, it was funny going back to it, right? So I took a total of 3 months, like doing absolutely no aerial front to back, right? And then, so then this was, you know, I had a month off before I reached out to you, and then we had 2 months together. And then that third month of our session was when I started going back. And so it was kind of funny going back because I felt pretty strong at that point, right? Like we would work together for 8 weeks, you know? So, but then there are like certain apparatus, like my knees kind of forgot what it felt like to do a double knee hang, you know? So I was like, oh yeah, I'm so strong. I've got this. And then I like get into a double knee hang and I'm like, oh no, this hurts. What? Like, so it was like definitely a really funny experience going back. But all of that, you know, all of that really came back quickly, and being able to like have that foundation to jump back into it was really, really great. Especially because honestly, I think that like personally would have been my biggest risk of re-injury, right? If like I had taken time off, hadn't really done much strength work, tried to get it back in the air, I like, knowing myself, I know for a fact I would have gotten on the hoop and been like, yeah, I know how to do this trick, right? And just gone for it. And like, you know, it would not have ended well. So it was really nice to like approach it really confidently, right? It's like, okay, I have the strength to, you know, to do the things, to attempt the things I know I used to know how to do. And definitely in it, you know, and in the following month, like in this past month, like it definitely all came back, right? Like, you know, I've got my spin tolerance back. We're good to go. It's great. But yeah, it was nice to start to just like be confident in my own safety up there, you know, and know that, and muscle engagement too, like, you know, all the pulling strength we worked on, I knew that the right muscles were activating as I was like pulling in the air. That was a really nice place to be when I went back.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's so awesome to hear that. And like, I just think that you did such a good job setting yourself for being able to go back to aerial with a body that was just like ready for that kind of training. And it's so hard when dealing with an injury because we think we need to rest. And it's like you rest to a point and then you have to reintroduce the strength training. And I really love that I got the opportunity to coach somebody through that. And you did, yeah, such an amazing job. So one question, do you feel like you would be where you are like now if you hadn't gone through the coaching program, like in terms of where you're at with your aerial?
Yeah, I would pretty confidently know. You know, I know that I would not be where I'm at right now without the coaching, is specifically what I meant by that. I like thinking back, if I had tried to go it on my own, you know, I think I would have tried to, you know, like strength train on the ground. But I think like really one of the big things was the feedback on form and being able to ask questions and say like, oh, does this feel right? Right. And also just getting in the practice of filming myself was very good, even instant feedback, you know, where like I would film myself for feedback from you, and then I'd look at it and be like, oh, like that doesn't totally look in alignment, you know? So yeah, I think like your feedback played a really big role in getting me to where I was. And I think without that, I would have been just a lot more lost, you know? And I don't know if, yeah, I'm not really sure how I would have fared, but I'm very confident that I would not have fared as well as I did with your coaching. So, yeah. So yeah, just being able to have your guidance through it was really critical in making sure I was doing things correctly.
Cool. So do you feel happy with what you gained from our 12 weeks together? Like, are you
absolutely
like, welcome?
No question, like 100%, like hard yes.
Cool. And so if someone was considering working with me, but they're not sure, maybe they're a bit like on the fence, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I would say, you know, take the leap, because yeah, I mean, it depends on what they're on the fence about, but I would totally recommend it. You know, I'd really say like, if there is something you're working towards, you can do it incrementally, right? Like the trust the process, you know, like, you know, you'll work with this person, you'll meet them where they're at. You know, if whatever their reservations are, you could probably work around it. And then yeah, the months went by fast, you know, like the weeks went by fast, you know, kind of just doing it. And then yeah, I really kind of felt like one day I woke up and I could do pull-ups. So like, you know, I really would recommend it very highly if someone was considering it and on the fence.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, it definitely sounds like that was the experience for you, was like one day you just woke up and you had all of the strength, even though like I watched you build it like every week.
Yeah, no, it's really what it felt like. I was like, whoa, like, this is different now.
It's so good though. I'm so psyched for you, because really, yeah, really the main goal from my side was help you to not lose strength, like you said, and not get re-injured. And so the fact that, you know, we were able to not only achieve that, but I mean, I say you were the one that showed up and did the work. You know, you got your pull up and you were building strength on the apparatus again. Like, yeah, you just did so well. You just absolutely smashed it, and it was fantastic to work with you.
Oh, thank you. It's fantastic. It's awesome.
Thanks. Is there anything else that you want to add before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I can't think of anything. Just yeah, that like overall, really game-changing experience. I got a lot more out of it than I thought that I would. You know, like yeah, again, like the increased body awareness, the you know, the goals that I wasn't really, you know, I just got so much out of it, and like really, didn't realize that I could do all of that in 2 and 3 months, you know, like that was, it seems like a short amount of time, to make that kind of progress. So, yeah, it was great.
Awesome. Yeah, that is my goal, is to help accelerate people's progress.
Definitely.
Cool. Thank you so much, Erin.
Of course.